One of the challenges that leaders have is that they often make the feedback conversation more complicated than it needs to be. Here's a simple model on how you can have the feedback conversation with your people. The model is called situation, impact, input, and follow-up. Let me describe each of those four components. You start by describing the situation. This is really the behavior that you saw, and you want to describe this as specifically as possible. Avoid using judgmental statements and just simply share your observations. The second part of the process is called impact. You want to describe the impact of the behavior that you observed, and you want to describe the impact on you or on your team members or on your customers. And describing the impact is a very powerful part of the process because it helps the team member understand the consequences of his or her behavior. The third step in the process is to open up the conversation for input. You're really asking the team member's perspective on the issue and what they can do to change their behavior. And once you open up the conversation to input, it becomes two ways, and the team member tends to be more committed to the solution and to the outcome. And the fourth part of the process is the follow-up part. And here we bring the conversation to a close, we summarize the agreements that were made, and we schedule time for follow-up. This is the most commonly overlooked step in the feedback process. And it's a very important step because what it does is it reinforces behavioral change and increases the likelihood of actually improving performance. Here's how the process might sound with a real-life example of a team member. And I'm going to take each of these components separately and sort of role-play what I might say. So let's start with a situation. Hi, Tim. Would you be open to receiving some feedback? I'm concerned because I've noticed that you've missed 3 software delivery commitments over the past 4 weeks. The next step in the process is I'm going to describe the impact of what I saw. Hey Tim, when you miss those commitments, it puts added risk on the QA team not being able to meet their deliverable deadline. It also puts us at risk of not being able to meet our customer commitments. So as part of this step, what I also might do is share my expectations. Hey Tim, my expectation is that when you commit to a deliverable, you deliver it on time. And if you can't make that commitment, you proactively let others know ahead of time. So the third step in the process is to open up the conversation by asking for the team members' input. And what I might do is just simply ask some open-ended question. Hey Tim, what's your perspective on the situation? What are your thoughts on how you can deliver your software code on time in the future? And then finally, the fourth step in the process, the follow-up step, is just bringing the conversation to a close and scheduling some time for input. Okay, Tim, great. So we've agreed to doing X, Y, and Z. Let's check in next Tuesday at 9 a.m. to see how things are going. How does that sound?